Hi, Russ. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to Vlad TV.
Thank you.
Hey, so a lot has happened. Let's
Yep.
start from the beginning. So you were born in Jersey,
Correct.
and you traveled a lot. You lived in so many different states. Tell me about that. How was that growing up?
It was cool. I remember not liking it though when it was happening, cause I was moving at like super hard times to be moving, like moving right when you're going into high school and shit like that. But it was cool.
Yeah. And your background, you're Sicilian.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Like, what's your family like? Like, are you like
Uh,
really?
yeah, that's super like big, uh, super big like Italian Sicilian family. Lots of shit talking, lots of
Lots of
food.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been there? Do you
Yeah, I've been to
travel?
yeah, I've been to Sicily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you eventually moved from, where was the last place you were at before you moved to Georgia?
North Carolina.
So how was that transition like?
That was the one where it was like that was like the least fond I was of all the moves because it was like going into high school. So yeah, but it was cool. I was always like super good at just making friends quick. So like I adjusted. It was cool.
Yeah, and then you ended up in Atlanta. That
Right.
must have been a culture shock.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So, I mean, with the music scene down there booming, what was your inspiration as far as like what got you rapping and producing?
Uh, it wasn't it wasn't really anything with Atlanta that made it do it because I was like writing raps in my notebook when I was 7. You know what I'm saying? Before I was ever even in Atlanta. Um, I think that music just got into me. You know what I'm saying? Like, why else do you do something when you're 7? You know what I mean? It's like a natural. I don't know. It was just like a bug that bit me when I was 7. I don't know. It was always just in me.
Yeah. How did you know you were musically inclined?
I don't think I did know. I think that I just loved it so much. You know what I'm saying? Because it used to sound super terrible, super terrible. So it's like you could say I wasn't musically inclined. Like if I played you my beats from when I was 14, it would be like, I don't know about this.
Producing, how did you get into doing that, and at what age? Because a lot of times some people start playing the piano, drums, whatever, and then, they go right into like programming beats and stuff.
Yeah. I started making beats when I was 14. So I'm 24 now, so it's been like 10 years. I don't know, that was just something I stumbled onto on we had we had one computer in the house and it was a Mac. It was like a super old one and it had GarageBand on it. And so like I just stumbled onto it and I was just making shit on that and then like, one of my like best friends at the time was making beats like on Fruity Loops down the street. So like we would just hang out and make beats and shit together and then it kind of just turned into its own thing.
Yeah. And a lot of times people like they like to dabble with music. They there's so many rappers here in the streets, so many producers.
Right.
What made you feel like you could really do this for a career?
I just always thought I was the best at everything. Like even shit that I had like no business doing. Like even if I was just like playing soccer for the first time, I'd be talking shit to all the soccer kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I always just had that unremovable stain of self-confidence. So I don't know, even when it was sounding terrible, like I thought that shit was the best sounding shit ever and it was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, did any of your friends try to discourage you or your family try to discourage you from
Nah,
like
my family
pursuing
didn't.
it?
My family didn't, but yeah, there was people like at school that would just talk shit, but they're broke and they live 9 to 5 lives now. That's terrible.
How often? How often do you get like the DMs like, "Hey, you remember me?"
I actually get them a lot now. It's just super fun. Super
Um,
fun.
so I mean, you so you do that. You're at 14. You get better at it through time, and I guess your plan B, because you wanted to do music full time, was college. Let's talk about that.
No.
What was your major?
No, I didn't have a plan
And
B. There was no plan B.
and you just decided to go to college.
Yeah, well, I went to college just because that was the shit that you do, I guess. You know what I mean? But it was more so like I was going to college to like appease my parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was there for like, thing with school, it was always so easy for me, right? Like, just humbly speaking, it was always super easy. So that was always my problem in school, is that I would always be talking and getting thrown out of class for talking, because I'd be finishing the work super quick. I'd be getting A's in the class, so the teacher couldn't tell me shit. And then I'd be getting kicked out for talking. Like I came in like second to most likely to make a teacher retire in high school. That's the type of student I was. You know what I mean? So like with college, it was the same shit. It was super, super easy. Like I had straight A's at midterm, and then by midterm, I was just like, fuck this. I'm just gonna sit in my dorm and make beats and shit. And that was that. And I didn't like ever go to class after that.
What was your parents' reaction when you dropped out?
Super upset. Super upset.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how long did it take before you popped off after dropping out?
4 years. That's why I always say, like, while people put in their 4 years in college, I put in my 4 years, like those 4 years that you were spending taking classes, trying to figure out what you wanted to do. I dropped out because I knew what I wanted to do. So I went and got real life experience in the shit that I was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And what was the process like for that?
Just constantly in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like dropping 11 albums. You know what I mean? Like in a span of 2 years. You know what I mean? Like produced, mixed, master, engineer, written by me. So it's like that constant lock yourself in and do this one thing repeatedly for years is like some shit's gonna shake from that.
Yeah. Now let's talk about like after 4 years of the grind, 11 albums within 2 years, you know, that one song or songs that popped.
Right.
You know, your SoundCloud went off. You didn't. You weren't signed.
Right.
You know, you're starting to do tours and stuff like that. Let's talk about that experience.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I dropped 11 albums, and like I was kind of still sitting there like, this isn't where I want it to be. I still have 100 followers. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I got to switch up the approach. So I started dropping a song a week on SoundCloud for like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Right.
And I would say like probably 8 months in, 9 months into that whole process is when it started to kind of like pick up a little bit, and like industry people started reaching out, whatever. I linked up with like now who's my super dope director, Edgar, and we shot like some videos to like some big songs from my SoundCloud. Linked with Kara Lewis, best booking agent in the world. And yeah, shit just kind of like did what it did organically. I think with the shit that I believe in, when you're trying to like pierce through a surface, right? And the surface is on the other side of it is your whole dreams being actualized and all that shit. People don't, the reason why people give up, because they don't know where that surface is. You don't know when it's gonna happen. You just have to have faith that it is gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? People just give up, and sometimes they're like right there. So my whole shit was like, at some point, I knew the universe was gonna have to spread the legs and let me fuck, period. So I was going, and then at some point it just pierced through, and then it was over after that.
Not hypothetically, let's say it didn't take 4 years, right? What happened if it took an additional like 8 years, or you know, do you think that you would have just kept on pushing?
Absolutely. I'm a psycho, absolutely. At the end of the day, like, we all die at the end of this shit, right? Period. And you don't have that much of a window to do really what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're between 0 and fucking 15, you can't really be doing that much shit. You know what I mean? And then, like, fucking 40 and on, you can't do that much shit. So you got, like, a 25-year window to really crush shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to fucking do as much shit as I can.